Apollo Justice is one of the most contentious games in the Ace Attorney series, and a big reason why is the character shift that Phoenix Wright has in this game. He takes a big shift into more of a mentor role, which is what you'd expect as they introduce to you a new hotshot, young lawyer for you to play as, but a lot of his character traits are different. In this video, we'll look through the character of Phoenix Wright in Apollo Justice, and answer the question, is Hobo Phoenix Wright a good character? Man, Turnabout Trump is totally a shock. Phoenix Wright is Apollo's defendant, and he has a hoodie on, and a beanie, with a nice callback to Rise from the Ashes. He's different. He's got a different air to him. Cool, calm, collected, very different from the Nick we knew before. Even Apollo is surprised. Honestly, I'd be too. He went from looking like a dashing young man in a suit to the average college kid, but like, older. He's even got the 5 o'clock shadow thing going. From the start of this game here, we see one of the new aspects of Nick's character that we'd only seen like once before this on the final day of From Rise from the Ashes. He's cerebral. I mean, he's literally friends with Christoph Gavin just so he can get revenge, and he uses Gavin's protege to do it. And he has literally no fear that Apollo will screw it up. By Ace Attorney rules, you can defend yourself. And I'd assume that that extends to a disbarred lawyer. I mean, there's literally a prosecutor who's in prison and still prosecuting at this point in the timeline. So this is some cold shit from Phoenix. The other new aspect to Phoenix Wright's character that we get here is cheating. He cheats to win. He breaks the law. He uses forged evidence to get Christoph Gavin a guilty verdict. Gavin was guilty, the game makes it very clear. But the Nick that we knew from the trilogy would never do something like that. It's such a major shift in his character. As a quick aside, I find poker to be the perfect way for Nick to make money in his post-lawyer days. He was already the god at bluffing to begin with, so I don't see how anybody could beat him. He's probably a secret millionaire, to be honest. I mean, there's no way Trucy's shows are paying the bills. Phoenix doesn't play the largest role in either of these next two cases, Turnabout Corner and the god-awful Turnabout Serenade, but that's just because he's working things behind the scenes so that he can be the star of the show in the final chapter. The fruits of his work in the background come with the Mason system, but first, let's talk a little bit about that flashback trial. The flashback trial in this game is classic Nick. I will say that his sprites look a bit dated compared to Clavier's in this case, but that's to be expected as Apollo Justice as a whole looks slightly better than the trilogy. But yeah, classic Nick. They even bring back the classic music, which is a great touch. There isn't really any sense of the character that he'd become in the next 7 years after this flashback, though. Though, obviously, he's still pretty depressed about it in that one day of investigation we get from this time inside the Mason system. But a lot can change in 7 years. It's a lot of off-screen development. In the present, Phoenix somehow manages to finesse his way into running the jury for the final case in the game, despite being a disgraced former attorney, which has never really made a lot of sense to me. I mean, they use the dark age of the law as an excuse, but still, it's stupid. However, the one thing that this case does show in Nick is his ability to now plan super far ahead. See, he knew that Christoph Gavin is a smart, cold, and calculated man, and it shows in what his murder plan was in this case. He literally created a ticking time bomb that really couldn't be traced back to him. So Phoenix responds by essentially rigging the jury against him. I mean, how could Thalassa even be on the jury considering that one of her children, obviously don't know it's her child, is involved so heavily with the case? Not to mention that she clearly knows Phoenix. Should Phoenix go to prison for that? But whatever, he also rigs the first case against Christoph. Without that fake playing card with the blood on it, Christoph might have gotten away. But everything that Phoenix does in this game is planned. Every single bit of it. Except for getting hit by a car, I hope. I think that this game also shows Phoenix's mentorship side as well. See, he was in his early to mid-20s in every other appearance so far, so he never really had to mentor anybody. In fact, he spent his entire trilogy being mentored by Mia Fey. He doesn't copy her mentorship style though, because he doesn't really have to. Apollo is kind of a natural in this game, and his literal superpowers help him out. But Phoenix is mentoring him from the shadows for the most part, making things a lot easier on him. So Nick's role in this game is pretty disliked among the fan base and myself alike. If you've seen my Apollo Justice video, you'll know this already, and you should check it out if you haven't seen it. The issue here is that Nick just kind of takes the spotlight away from Apollo the whole game. The story of Apollo Justice is literally just Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney 4. I don't know what the subtitle would be. Name it in the comments. What would the subtitle for this game be if it was Phoenix Wright 4? Bridge to the Turnabout wrapped everything up when it came to the OG cast. And you can see that in the series now. All of the major trilogy players outside of Nick and the Judge are gone in this game. Edgeworth came back quickly, of course, because he's so beloved, but Maya would have to wait 9 years to return to the main series, and Gumshoe still hasn't returned, though I'm praying that happens in Ace Attorney 7. Shu Takumi wanted to move on from the original cast in this game, but of course, as the story goes, Capcom made him include Phoenix in the game, so he had to write around it. Now, I don't think that absolves him of all the criticism though. He definitely didn't write the best story with these circumstances that he could. Phoenix Wright acting as a mentor to the next generation is a good-ass story idea and a good way to pay off all of his development over his 3 previous games, but Takumi went with such a weird path to get there. Apollo easily could have been a rookie, either working at the Write Anything agency, or maybe working for Gavin, and Phoenix helps him get Gavin in jail, just like in Turnabout Trump. Or an even better story idea is, have Apollo put his mentor in prison for a crime that he committed instead. They could have gone with that, but instead they went with Phoenix Wright 4. Nick didn't really need to be disbarred either to tell this tale. I mean, he's not even disbarred in the series anymore, and his character hasn't really skipped a beat. That's another one of the weird things about Phoenix in this game, or I guess series as a whole. In Dual Destinies and Spirit of Justice, he's back to being pretty normal. Literally in the opening cutscene for Dual Destinies, he puts the suit back on and it's like immediately back to his old self. Slightly older though, clearly. I think they could have told a good story about Nick's return to being an attorney after 7 years. The nerves, the rush, the memories, but nah, he's just back to being normal old Nick. But don't get me wrong, I'll answer the video title right now. I actually love his character here. I think he's the right character, but in the wrong story. This is a fantastic progression from where we last saw him. He's more mature, he's more calculated, he's less off the walls, though he's in an Ace Attorney game, so he still is a bit. And again, he's just grown up a lot. He's 33 in this game. He was like 27 in Bridge from the Turnabout. He had a lot of off-screen growth. I think his off-screen growth is part of what puts people off him in this game. They probably could have dedicated an entire game to his character shift in an alternate universe. And that's a game I'd like to have played, to be honest. But it's understandable why they didn't want to go there. Like I said, his story had wrapped up, though Capcom clearly thought otherwise. But his character is still damn good in this game. It's the plot that lets him down. If he had a reduced role, he'd be loved a lot more in this game. So, to answer the question, yes, Hobo Phoenix Wright is a good character. But unfortunately, he's just in the wrong game, and Shu Takumi couldn't write around it well enough. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, let me know, and please discuss it in the comments. I think this is a very interesting topic, considering how polarizing Apollo Justice can be. And if you liked it, please consider giving a subscribe, and check out any future videos. Thank you. See ya.